I am so excited to tell you about my very first God Jots book, Forgiveness and Healing: How to Seek, Offer, and Understand the Power of Forgiveness. What is forgiveness? What is the power of forgiveness? And how can you use it to set yourself free from the chains of that bondage? Learn how to forgive, learn how to apologize, and read real stories from real people that'll help you get through it. Plus, hey, on top of that, a whole lot of my weirdness, I suppose. So if you're willing to take a chance on that, check it out. It's available now, including signed copies, at forgivenessbook.godjots.com. Go check it out. How might fears and frustrations affect our behavior in the present day? How do we overcome these traumas so that we can properly show up for ourselves and others? What's up, my EFF? Let me tell you how it is. You've just stumbled upon God Jots, a series about the nature of love, compassion, joy, and the real-life connection between human beings. I'm Ender Bowen, Nashville, Tennessee rock pop artist, author, husband, father, complete dork, and aspiring compassionist. Sit back, relax, and be prepared to laugh, cry, maybe even resolve a childhood trauma or two. Oh, wow, we're getting serious on this one. Recently, after my kids were in bed, I had to help my wife film an audition for a potential movie role. It was an exciting opportunity for her, and I knew it had to be done well. But just as we were about to start, my 10-year-old daughter came out of her room complaining about a ringing in her ear that just wouldn't stop. I tried to stay calm, but I could feel the frustration rising. This is something we had to get done, and now here she was, up and making noise, disrupting everything. I wish I could say I handled it well, but the truth is, I didn't. I was dismissive of her problem and her discomfort, waving her off in a way that wasn't compassionate at all. I hate to admit that. It's not really in my character to be so standoffish. Normally, I'm the kind of dad who would sit down with her, listen, and try to help. But in that moment, all I could think about was the fact that this audition had to be filmed, and quickly. So I let my frustration just take over. Looking back, I see that it wasn't just about the audition. It was about something much deeper, something that goes all the way back to my childhood. And I think that's why this moment stuck with me so much, because it revealed a part of me that I've struggled with for a long, long time. You know, it's easy to think that when we snap or when we lose patience or when we fail to show compassion, it's because of whatever's happening in that immediate moment. But the truth is, there's usually a deeper story behind it. For me, that night wasn't just about my daughter interrupting us or the urgency of getting that audition filmed. It was about the layers of frustration that have built up over time. Frustration that comes from the feeling that no matter how hard I try to make things work, something always seems to get in the way. And it's not just this one night. It's a pattern I've noticed my entire life, something I've carried with me for a long, long time. Maybe you can relate. Maybe there are times when you lose your cool and afterwards you wonder why you reacted so strongly. Why didn't you just pause, breathe, and approach things more calmly? Why did something seemingly so small set you off? Well, the answer often lies in the past, in unresolved trauma, or in experiences that shape the way we handle stress and disruption today. What I realized, especially in the aftermath of that night, is that my reaction wasn't just about the moment. It was about fear. A very specific fear that I've struggled with for as long as I can remember. It's the fear that no matter how much effort I put into something, it won't work out. The fear that if I commit fully to a project, something will inevitably interrupt or derail it. Kind of, but not exactly like a fear of failure. It's a fear rooted in my childhood, where I often felt that my best efforts were wasted because external circumstances kept getting in the way. And that fear has followed me into adulthood, showing up in subtle ways. It's why I sometimes struggle to finish things, why I have a hard time starting projects I care about, like my podcasts, among other things. It's not procrastination. It's this lingering, irrational fear that I'll pour my heart and soul into something and it will be all for nothing. That fear shows up in moments like that night with my daughter. Instead of recognizing her discomfort and being present for her, I let the fear take over. I saw her as an obstacle, a barrier to getting the task done, and I reacted accordingly. And while I hate that I acted this way, I also understand that it's a part of a bigger issue, one that I need to address if I'm going to break free from this pattern. The good news is, once you start recognizing these patterns in yourself, you can begin to change them. But it's not easy, and it's not immediate. It starts with, you guessed it, compassion, for yourself and for others. That night, I didn't have compassion for my daughter because I wasn't showing compassion for myself. I wasn't acknowledging that I was struggling with something bigger than just that moment. I was letting old fears and traumas control my actions instead of confronting them head on. Yeah, compassion is key. When we understand that our reactions are often the result of deeper wounds, we can begin to extend grace to ourselves and to the people around us. We can start to heal. In that same way, when someone else is acting in a way that seems hurtful or dismissive, it's often because they too are struggling with something they don't know how to deal with. Now, it doesn't make it okay, it doesn't excuse hurtful behavior, but it helps us understand where it's coming from. And understanding can lead to healing, both for us and for them. So, what do we do with this realization? How do we convert this knowledge into something practical, something that actually changes our behavior moving forward? Well, first, we have to get honest with ourselves. We need to take the time to dig into the things that frustrate us, the things that trigger those outbursts of impatience or dismissiveness. What are we really afraid of? What old wounds are we still carrying? For me, it was about the fear of wasted effort, the fear that no matter how hard I try, something will always stand in the way. Once we've identified those fears, we can start working on them, slowly, gently. It's not about fixing ourselves overnight, but about learning to recognize when those old fears are taking over. In those moments, we can pause, take a breath, and choose a different path. Instead of reacting with frustration, we can choose compassion. Instead of dismissing someone else's struggle, we can show up for them with empathy, knowing that their experience is valid, just as ours is. This doesn't mean we won't mess up again. We will. There will be more nights like the one I had with my daughter where I let frustration get the better of me. But the more we practice compassion for ourselves and for others, the easier it becomes to break that cycle. We stop letting fear dictate our actions, and we start living from a place of love, understanding, and grace. At the end of the day, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up again and again with the intention to do better, to be better, and to extend compassion even when it's hard. Because that's how healing happens. That's how we break free from the patterns that hold us back and step into the fullness of who we're meant to be. All right, now it's your turn. When did you let your fears and frustrations get the better of you in this way? How could having compassion for yourself have had a more positive effect? If faced with this situation in the future, how do you think you'd handle it? Have you identified your fears, and if so, are you working towards overcoming them? What advice might you have for someone working through this? I would love for you to share your thoughts about this episode with my growing community of aspiring compassionate. Find out how to join us on Discord by going to enderbowen.com/Discord. If you like this episode and want to be notified when new ones are uploaded, make sure you don't leave without hitting that subscribe button. Or subscribe to God Jots in your favorite podcast streaming service. You can also check out more God Jots, as well as subscribe to the mail list for ebooks, updates, and exclusive content at godjots.com. Until next time, be honest with yourself, be truthful with others, give people the opportunity to surprise you, and remember that it's impossible to have absolutely nothing in common with another human being. Be a little light in the world. I'm sure I'll see you soon.